everyone, today I'll be talking about mistakes that I made when I started with polymer clay. If you're more experienced at clay, some of these mistakes seem obvious to you, but when you first start out, I know the feeling of not really being sure what's allowed and what you can do with polymer clay. Also note that any mistakes that I talk about today are from my own experience and research. I wasted over $100 and a lot of time on things that just didn't work. Here are 10 mistakes you should avoid so you don't waste your money like I did. The first mistake is buying cheap clay kits. My first clay that I bought was a big pack of 25 color kit. It looked perfect for a beginner, but it was a nightmare. It was too soft and sticky. I thought I was bad at art, but it was just bad clay. So the lesson is that cheap clay is harder to use. Start with a good brand like Sculpey Primo. It will make your work look better instantly. Mistake number 2 is buying clay that is too old and not checking the manufacturing date. I once found a big sale and spent $80 on female clay, but the clay had been sitting on the shelf for years. It was crumbly, bone dry, and took me hours just to condition a tiny piece. So if the price is too low, the clay might be old. Always check if the clay feels soft before you buy a lot of it. Or you can check manufacturing date if it's on the package. Mistake 3 is thinking all clay is the same. Some brands are hard and some are very soft. I bought a big pack of Cernit clay, thinking it would feel like Sculpey, but it was way too soft for the detailed work I was doing. So another $15 down the drain. Pick the right clay for your project. Don't buy a huge amount until you try a small piece first. The fourth mistake is skipping the prep work. You have to condition clay, which means knead it and roll it before you use it. I used to skip this. My pieces looked fine, but then they cracked after I baked them. If you want your art to last, you have to spend time warming up and rolling the clay first. Conditioning is non-negotiable. It's what makes the plastic molecules bond so your piece actually stays together. Mistake 5 is buying too many tools. I spent $100 on fancy tools I never use. I thought I needed them to be a so-called pro. You only need a few basic things to start. Only upgrade your kit when a specific task is actually slowing you down, not because you saw it on TikTok. However, there is one tool that is worth it immediately. A pasta machine. I tried doing everything by hand with a rolling pin at first. It was slow, uneven, and really exhausting for my hands. I finally bought a basic $25 machine and it instantly changed the game. This is the one tool that is actually worth the money. It saves you so much time, but you don't need $100 professional machine. Even a cheap one will save your hands and your time. Mistake 7 is working in a dirty space. Polymer clay is like a magnet for dust and pet hair. If your table is dirty, your art will look messy. So always wipe your table and wash your hands. Keep your clay in a box so it stays clean. The 8th mistake is leaving fingerprints. I used to think fingerprints were permanent. Then I learned a secret. Acetone. A tiny bit on a cotton swab will wipe away fingerprints and dust. You don't have to be perfect. You can clean up your mistakes with a quick wipe before or after baking. Number 9 is a sneaky one. The surface you bake on matters. I only found this out recently, but baking on glass or ceramic gives the bottom of your piece a shiny finish, while baking on paper keeps it matte. If you don't like how the bottom of your clay looks, try baking it on a piece of plain white paper. And don't worry, the paper won't catch fire in the oven. Finally, mistake number 10, the rush to the oven mentality. I used to think I had to bake every piece the moment I finished it. But you don't. You can take breaks, work in batches, and save on electricity by baking everything at once at the end of the week. So, slow down, store your piece safely, and bake when you're ready. But make sure to store your pieces in airtight container so the dust won't fall on your work. Starting a new hobby is always an investment, but it shouldn't be a waste. If you avoid these 10 mistakes, you'll save yourself a lot of money and a whole lot of frustration. Happy sculpting!